ॐ ॐ ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ हरि ओम्. Good evening to everybody. Welcome to this evening's talk on Together We Can, Together We Must, Together We Will. This is on Commit to Win and Win You Will. The Sunday evening talks from 6 to 6:30 on YouTube Chinmaya Surya channel are happening for students and people who are all in the managerial category or doing business, whatever concentrated work they may be doing, sportsmen or musicians, students who are practicing music, basically somebody who's trying to learn something, focus on something, on what we can do to make ourselves better at what we do, what we study, or how we focus. So everything boils down to making your mind quiet. In that series, we have seen many topics so far, and today we are going to look at about how the beauty of our surroundings, the organized nature of our study table, our study room, or our practice room and practice sessions, keeping it very organized, how it will help us to concentrate and focus. The key principle of organizing everything is keeping neat and tidy is when things are messy, when things are out of control. One thing is you will lose a lot of time searching for the book, searching for the keys, searching for the socks, or searching for the belt. Everything will play their own mischief. In Japanese, there is a saying called motai nai. Motai nai is a Japanese word which means that if there is a lot of junk and there is a lot of mess in your house, in some corner of your house or some corner of your room, if some place is very messy and unattended to, there will be some kind of mischievous spirits that come there and they will create a lot of confusion. They will create a confusion in the family, in the office, or in your. It is a very interesting concept because Japanese are the people who have given a lot of importance to keeping a very organized space, for keeping things clean. Even in school, Japanese students, in India also, we don't have that habit. We don't get any work done out of school students. But in Japan, students are supposed to keep their own tables clean. They will have common lunch areas where the students are supposed to sweep, mop, take charge of arranging all the plates. So there's a lot of importance given to cleanliness in Japan. And that's the reason why many of our cleaning techniques, tidying techniques, and organizing techniques have all come from Japan. It is not that India is less in that area. Tidying is a natural process of when your mind is very organized, then your space outside is organized. Your room or your study space is a reflection of the state of your mind. If you see everything is very messy around, it means your mind is in a very messy state, and you will not be able to focus on your studies unless things are very clear. And there are many people, when during examination time, they will not be able to sit for studying because, and automatically what they will do is they will go and clear their room, they will tidy their room, they will spend a lot of time cleaning their room, and only then the mind will be able to focus on the subject of study. So keeping your space organized and tidying is very important. A place for everything and everything in its place. This is a quote that many masters have told. Many spiritual gurus and masters have spoken about the same thing. Tidying is a very simple process. One is you decide where to keep a thing. If there is a mobile phone and a mobile phone stand, this mobile phone stand is kept in this place. You decide that first and then you keep it there. And let it be in that place always. Whenever you take the phone, speak on the phone, Make it a point to walk up to the place where the phone has to be kept and keep it there, and you will not have any problem about thinking about where it is or searching for something. In the same way, any object is there. In Japanese, there is a system called 5S, which is it is a quality control system of keeping the space neat and tidy and organized, which is followed in many companies. So the 5S is about, there are 5 Japanese words: seiri, seiton, shitsuke, seiketsu, and seiso. So sorting, setting, sustaining, shining, standardizing. I've always tried this 5S for very small spaces like my study table. For example, for 48 days, I just I arranged my table in this format. Sorting is just whatever books are there, whatever pen, pencils, sharpeners, erasers, everything is there. First, sort them all out. Sort them all out, and once you sort them into groups, in Sanskrit we will call this Viveka Shakti. Viveka Shakti is the ability to discriminate. This is a paper, this is a this is a file, or this is a mobile phone, this is an idol, and this is a mat. So when things are very messy around us, first just sort everything, discriminate them between objects, and every object we have around us reveals our intentions in our mind. Objects, whatever object I have around me, it reveals an intention that I have in my mind. If there is a clock on my table, it reveals the intention that I need to focus on my time. My own intention is there. If there is something like this, it is just in the process of cleaning something, I got this picture. This picture is of a god, but this picture has got no frame to it. It's a cardboard picture. Somebody kept it on my table, and I did not, even though it's a cardboard and the image is of a god, which exactly I really have not chosen it myself, but still it is very beautiful, and I keep this picture here. So when I see this, I know what is the intention in mind. There is some love for that deity, so that makes me keep that object there. So every object reveals our intention, and when we sort out all the objects, whatever we do outside in the world, we are actually doing to our mind. So before sitting down to study, you will know, you will understand what is the content of your mind when you look around the room and choose or think about sorting out the objects and arranging your study table. If you have a study room, well and good. If you don't have a study room, you may have a study table. That is also perfectly fine. If you don't have study table, you will have at least one corner in your room where you can sit down neatly and study. It can be a writing pad, or it can be a small table on the floor. Whatever it is, keeping them organized and very neat will help you to sit and focus on your studies. When we organize something, when we organize our surroundings so beautifully, what happens is, if we do not organize, the mind is pulled in many directions. The eyes are pulled in the direction of where there is mess, because a neat atmosphere will not pull our sense organs outside. An untidy atmosphere can pull our eyes in the direction of where there is mess, because that's a nature. When 10 people are going on the road, if one person is behaving badly, our attention will go to that person, because that is the nature of the human mind. Wherever there is problem, the mind will go there. So reducing the problems around your space by clearing the space. So we saw sorting. Sorting is the first thing. Sort out all your books, sort out all your things, pen, pencil. For example, if there is a pen stand, uh, you see what all categories of things are there. There is a scale, then there is some card in which it can be used as a bookmark, or there are pencils, take them out as a different category. Then you may have marker pens or sketch pens, keep them in different categories. And then you may have an ink pen, keep that also aside. Then you may have ballpoint pens, or you may have pens which are ballpoint pens of one category, and then you may have some ballpoint pens which serve other purpose like a mobile phone stand and a ballpoint pen. Then you will have a scissor. So these are all the essentials of a student. A student should have the essentials of study materials on the table in a very neatly. This is a fevi stick, and this is an eraser, and these are the pencils are there together. And then what else is there? What else can be there possibly? Then there is an eraser. There is a sharpener. Sometimes there can be two also. If you want to organize them better, just keep one sharpener, one eraser, and one pencil, and whatever. And then there may be other things like, you have got in another box, which you can heavy box, there's a scissor or marker pens or sharpeners, fevistick, staplers, and a torchlight. Suddenly, when power goes off, you can use the torchlight to continue your studies immediately. So these small equipment, everything is very well available. You can even go to an office shop, a stationery shop, and shop for the real things that you want, and keep them all very organized around you. Ensure that, so sorting is one thing, and then after sorting, you do setting. You arrange the pens together, the marker pens together, then the ink pen, and then take all your pencils. Ensure that your pencils are all sharpened. A sharp pencil, there is a saying in English, your mind is as sharp as your pencil. So if the pencil is blunt, in most of the houses, if you see, um, there will be many pens and pencils, and there'll be erasers, broken pieces. All pencils will be blunt, all the pens will not write, and in an emergency, if you want to take down one phone number, there will be many sketch pens, everything will be broken, or they will not have ink, they will not write. So if you want to write one phone number, you will not have a paper or a pencil to write them with. So but that tragedy should not happen, especially when you want to study for big competitive exams. Focus on setting your study space very well, keeping all the equipment properly, your scales, geometry box, everything. Let all your geometry box and study items and other things have only what is required, not other things like, for example, bits of paper or some artifacts or some dust, some mud, particles of food, chocolates and chocolate paper. Everything, only things that belong to somewhere should be there. So each thing in its place, and a place for everything. When you arrange a study table like this, you will feel so. So when I did this 5S, and I asked the youngster to just come and sit there in the table and chair, and asked her how it feels. She said, I feel like studying, I feel like writing something. So your study table should be in such a way that when you enter, you should feel like writing. So in your study table, of course, you can keep a place for your mobile phone. Everything is happening online these days, and your laptops and computers. Let there be one pen stand with all whatever is required, all the writing material, everything in perfect condition. Pen, pencils, sharpeners, erasers, and then always you can have a couple of a box of where you can write cards like these, whatever important statements that you want to write. For example, whenever I read books, I have these papers and cards ready with me, so that whatever I want to write, I can write. These are all what are that called? These cards which you get in workshops and all that. These plastics into which I put down something. If I want to write some words, for example, divine order is almost like a mantra. It's a switch word, and this divine order means if you say that and you write that, your surroundings will become in a very divine order. It will be in a very orderly manner. So you can have small post-it notes or small sheets like this, in which you can write some important quotes or statements, or mathematical or scientific formula that you are studying, or anything that you have to by heart. For example, if you have to learn by heart something in English, and then you write them in these pieces of paper, You keep them around you, and it will remind you of what you have studied. And even when you write in the exam, when it is visually presented to you, all the your it is a visual and tactile learning that you're doing constantly. When you do that and you display that, notice subconsciously that message has been stored in your subconscious mind, and so the answers come very smoothly when you write the exams. So you can get nice cards like this, cards where something that you study, you can just you may read many books, you may be reading some subject, but you may be watching a YouTube video, or some other, you may be reading some book or some magazine in which the topic that you study has come. So you can immediately take sketch pens and write it on nice cards like this, and keep those cards, store those cards, and constantly, you can just pull out all those cards in your free time and go through all those cards. You will get very beautiful information that you yourself have stored and written, and you would love to read it, and you will be able to remember very well whenever you are trying to just relax and focus on something. For example, I read a book on transformation technology, in which it had mentioned about saying affirmations, how to say affirmations and make things happen. So many years ago, this is almost some 5 6 years ago, transformation technology, where I have written an affirmation. I read sublime literature, I listen to sublime music, words and conversations, I see sublime sights. Om Tat Sat. So affirmations like this also you can write. For example, mastermind together, how to overcome uncomfortable feeling as a brain is unable to process information. Very busy, suddenly no activity, feel a void, brain interprets as boredom. When you read all these things, where they are very inspiring, and they are also, it helps you to concentrate on your studies well. So sorting is one thing. Just this 5S I'll talk about, because it helps us, and a few other tips on how to organize your study space. So sorting is one thing. First you sort out the things, and then setting is keep them everything in its place, each thing in its place, a place for everything. And sort, you don't need to really invest in costly stuff. You can get so many boxes and so many containers, even shoe boxes, or sari boxes, or any other boxes that you get. You can just snip off the top flaps of the box, and you can use that box as a pen stand. Keep everything organized. For example, your the whatever this writing materials, the letter pads and all that. So everything is so focused that whatever you want, you are able to find it out very easily, you are able to get it, and you are surrounded by only the things that you really want to focus on, only the right things that you really need. So everywhere, whatever bit of sheet, this box was from a some mic system was bought on this, and this box was ripped apart, and I made cards out of this, and on these cards I write something very informative that I need to focus on, concentrate on. So all the time you're focusing on something interesting in your studies, and it happens very playfully. So when you write very important formulae or important statements and quotes in different inks, in felt inks, and in color quotes and all that, and store it around you, the color also has a lot of role to play in the ability to memorize. So sorting is one thing, and then setting. The third thing is shining. Once you have set your table, once you have set your room very beautifully, spend time every day, at least 10 minutes or 5 minutes, just dusting your table, wiping it clean and neat. And suppose something is supposed to be here and it is just like this. The previous day you just left it like that. Put it back in place and let it be in its place. Let all the things be in their place. Remember to have something very inspiring in your study table. So I have, somebody has given me this beautiful idol, and it fits a nice slot on my table. So I keep it here. So whenever I do my talks, like something that inspires me is right in front of me. So I remember even when I was studying my standard 10, I used to tell my father, I'm feeling very tired. so I don't feel like studying. And so and I tell him that when you are sitting there, I'm able to study. When you go away, I'm not able to study. So he said, shall I do an appa bomme and give you a father doll? Something like the father. You keep the doll there, but anything that inspires you helps you to study. So keep your study space very divine. Sorting, setting. The third is shining. Shining is every day spend some 10 minutes to just a little bit dust the place and arrange the books in order, and then you are good to go to start your studies. Focus. But before that, an overall arrangement has to be done, which I will be talking about next. I will introduce a very important author on this subject. I don't have the time to talk so much about it, but there is a lot of information on YouTube regarding this, which you can Google up and find out, and also get the necessary books to read up on that. Sorting, setting, shining. The third is standardizing. You may be using the study space along with your brothers, sisters, and other people in your house. So make it a standard practice. This is the way this place should be, because everybody wants to succeed in their studies. Nobody wants to be messy, and it helps all if it is going to be neat and clean and tidy. So work out an arrangement with everybody else, so that whatever the work that you have done regarding keeping it neat and tidy, it still holds good, that you can begin to focus on your study rather than fighting with everyone on a daily basis on why things are moving, or searching for things and fighting and spoiling your mood because of that. Then sorting, setting, shining, standardizing is making the standard process. The standard process is, especially in this 5S in offices, when they work on it, they will put L bend stickers. For example, if the laptop has to be here, there will be 4 stickers in the 4 corners. L bends. This it just bends like this. So the laptop should be inside that only. We don't need to go to that extent. We can have our own logic of arranging the things in their place, and every day see to it that you decide a place for it and let it be in that place. Decide where to keep it, and keep the object where you decided. It's as simple as that. It will work out very beautiful. Decide where to keep, and keep it where you have decided. Decide a time for something and do something in that time. Say it and do it. This is the philosophy behind successfully accomplishing anything. Whatever you have decided, just decide to follow it and do it. Sorting, setting, shining, standardizing. The last one is sustaining. Sustaining is where we all go. We just don't really bother about that. You might be very inspired to keep it so neat, and the one day's study session would have been very inspiring. Maybe the whole week also it will be very nice. But over a period of time, these objects have a nature of accumulating themselves all around. You have so many books, you have so many notebooks, you have so many papers, pencils, everything around you, that at one point of time, if you don't stay on top of these things, they will get the better of you. So keeping that arrangement in a way, sustaining the whole order. So let me tell you the first experiment of when I did the whole thing, this 5S, I just worked on my table, because the whole room might have been difficult to do that time. So I thought, let me focus on my study table alone. And I arranged all the books in that manner: sorting, setting, shining. I did these three, and the sustaining and the standardizing, I followed it up for 48 days. For 48 days, I saw to it that everything that I arranged was in that same place. So much so that even when I went out of station to some other place, leaving my room and my study table, even from that place, the whole table became a source of inspiration for me. The whole table became like a meditation altar, where everything became so. See, that is why we go to temples. We go to temples, we see that divinity in that granite altar, dark granite, and everything is in its place. The garland is in its place, and whatever objects that are offered to the Lord, the deity, is in its place. So the organization and the setup has not changed. That is why in our mind, that image and the deity is standing so beautifully in our mind. In the same way, if you organize your study space in such a way that everything is so beautiful and everything just settles down in your mind, and you have a small velvet board on which you can pin things, or you can have a board on which you can put your sticky notes, everything will work in your favor when you organize your table. So the book that I wanted to talk to you about was there's a very famous Japanese author called Marie Kondo. She's a sensation in tidying and cleaning. Her book is The Magical Art of Tidying, where she mentions many interesting ways by which we can do a one-time tidying of our books. Tidying is not actually cleaning. Tidying is questioning what we have, especially as a student when you want to study and focus on your studies. You have to question about all the written material, all the published material that are around you. Questioning each book. She suggests that she suggests a category for tidying. First is clothes, then is books, then comes papers, and then comes miscellaneous items, which is called, in all categories, miscellaneous items. You will have many objects around you, miscellaneous items, and then tidy your sentimental items. This is a category she mentions. You can refer to all the details on your search engines, whatever you have to do. But when you do that, and she says the whole concept behind what she says is every object around you will start breathing into you and communicating to you, or bringing all. See, in examinations when we study, the most important thing is studying and then recalling in the exam. So when we sit in the exam hall for the whole 1 year, if we have been able to sit in a very organized surrounding and focused on our study in a very calm mind, and when we are going to the examination hall and when we are recalling the answer, everything will just come in a flash so beautifully. Whatever you have written on a card will be there in your mind, and whatever you have, whichever book is in which place, you will know for the whole year. If one book is in a particular place and it does not move from there, you will be able to first you will be able to study well, and you will be able to remember very well, and you would have got the training by the end of the time to write your exams in a very calm manner. There are many people, many successful people in the world. You take them, they have all worked from a very organized study table and organized study room. There may be exceptions like Albert Einstein or many other people. Umberto Eco, there's an author. His whole book is full of, his whole room is full of piles and piles of books, and he will be sitting in one corner. Some people are inspired by that, but I'm sure that most of us cannot be inspired by messy surroundings. We would like to have a very neat and tidy surroundings. So the books, segregate all the books according to category. Keep your books, and she advises that keep everything standing. Even in yoga, an object in a stable position, every object is made of molecules, subatomic particles, and quarks. So objects are basically not objects in state. So they are all very dynamic in nature. An object in stable position, in a supine position, is an object at rest. An object at rest is filled with tamas. So when you keep all your books standing, the books are very dynamic and they're ready and eager to serve you. When all your even your laptops also, when you clear the table and then finish your work and keep the laptop standing in one corner, it occupies less space, removing all the wires and plug points, and then finally it takes no time to put it all back. So everything is clear, the table is clear. Once you finish your studying, have a clear table, and maybe you want to have something very live on the table, like a flower vase or a flower pot or a bowl of flowers. Life energy around you will add a lot of inspiration to your studies. So storing books and papers upright, and when you take all the books, when you want to see for once and for all, when you want to do your tidying, put all the books together and take each book. Ideally, what happens is when you take each object in your hand, you are giving your full attention and energy to the object. And when you take it close to yourself, you are able to feel the contents of the object are actually absorbed into your mind. And then whether you really want it or don't want, your mind will be able to tell you. If it really makes you very happy, keep it. If it doesn't, you can just say thank you so much for serving me, and then gift that object away to somebody else, or dispose it off, or recycle it and use it for something else, but remove it out of your table after saying thanks to that object. If you do not say thanks, what happens is, many times it has happened to all of us, we don't want something, we just throw it away, and we throw it round and round, and because everything is energy in motion, every object is energy, nothing is a solid dead object here, everything has got life in it. So it goes round and round and round, finally it comes and finds our way back to our table, because we have not made a decision on this object, and we have not decided to remove it from there, so it will not leave us. These are all the science of quantum physics has a lot of role to play in the modern day understanding of how objects are there around, why objects are there, why certain objects are there around us, and why certain situations are prevailing around us. Everything has got its um, understanding in quantum physics these days. They are providing an answer for all this. So, ideally, segregate all your books, keep them standing, arrange them in categories, arrange them in a visible line so that you know you can pick up what book, and keep that book, that notebook, your scribbling pad, writing pad, everything related to that subject, and just begin to study. Focus on the time. If you say I'm going to study for 1 hour, sit for that 1 hour, come what may, focus on your studies, and you will be able to remember. So store each item by category, and then as a rule, don't store anything um, on top of your, whatever it is, non-physical, even your laptops and mobile phones and all your gadgets. See to it that you are tidying your data, whatever emails you have, whatever WhatsApp messages you have, everything you constantly keep tidying and keep them refreshed. So the whole concept of tidying, before even we enter into this, just have a visual picture in your mind. Sit down. You can prepare a beautiful vision board. I do not have an example of a vision board here. A vision board is something very beautiful, where you can take a card like this, or the white side of it, and then cut out, like, if you want your ideal study room to be something very beautiful, cut out nice images and pictures, and from magazines, cut out inspiring quotes, cut out nice words from headlines, make a lovely vision board out of it. Suppose you want to succeed in your, we will talk about vision boards sometime. You want to succeed in your exams, how to prepare vision boards is a different topic. But keep any inspiring cards like this in front of you, with pictures from magazines, something that denotes success to you. So everything will happen very beautifully when you just decide to tidy. And why things accumulate around us is, in the Bhagavad Gita, the answer is there for this. I'm not going to quote the verse from the Gita because um, it's a longer context. Our anxiety about the past, our worries about the past, and anxiety about the future, these are the things that make us hold objects and the things which are really not required for us. We always feel that what this is something very sentimental about it, or in future if I want it, what will happen. Yeah, if you really keep your place very tidy, whatever information you want, whatever equipment you want, whatever data you want, everything will come in search of you when you keep your emails, WhatsApp, your visiting card list, or your writing table, or your study material. You keep only what serves you at this moment, and you keep them in front of you. You can store other things in other places, but your visual surface of your study table and the whole desk, it is not that you just clean the top of the desk. The contents of the desk also, you have to pull out everything and just go through the whole process. Ask everything, like personally take every object. It can be even a small pin, whether I really love this here, or whether it should be here, or whatever it is. Ask that question. If yes, keep it. If no, say thank you to that object. It could be a small pin. Thank you, and donate it or give it somewhere or put it somewhere else. Out of sight, out of mind. And with with all these with all these means and ways. And of course, if you're really inspired by the subject, it's a very deep subject of study. It goes deeper and deeper. Something that you do on your study table, it can expand to the whole world. That kind of an impact tidying has got on our mind. A tidy mind is a clear mind. A clear mind can retain whatever we study and recall whatever we study with ease. Thank you very much, and we will come again next week, the same time, 6 to 6:30, with some other interesting topic regarding how well you can study. Focus. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Boliye Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.